only in Vancouver is the smallest piece of news, actually pretty big news. And I want to say that because when it comes to the Canucks re-signing Spencer Martin to a one-way, 2-year contract, there you go, I said one-way, 2 years, not 1 year, and the other way around. Let's go over what exactly this means for the Vancouver Canucks and what the plan appears to be here. So, Spencer Martin, Abbotsford Canucks goaltender at the moment, has been pretty good with that club. 23 games played, a .918 save percentage, and a .239 goals against average. You gotta remember, the Vancouver Canucks acquired Martin for free from the Tampa Bay Lightning in exchange for future considerations. Pretty much for free, right? He had spent some time in previous years with the Colorado Eagles and the Syracuse Crunch, the Orlando Solar Bears, as well in the ECHL. Martin has been all over the place. He had some games played with the piss-poor 2016-17 Colorado Avalanche, but that was about it. Martin has been a pretty good AHL guy, and when the Vancouver Canucks needed some relief earlier on in the year, Martin came in and he provided that relief. He had 1 win and 2 overtime losses in 3 games played, a .159 goals against, and a .958 save percentage. For a good portion of the season, when everybody was hating on Yaroslav Halak, Spencer Martin was the guy that fans were saying, hey, why don't we play this guy? Why do we have Halak? Why can't we just use Martin? Because he was really good when he suited up for Vancouver in the 3-game sample he had. The answer to that question is mostly because Yaroslav Halak had a no-move clause and he wasn't allowed to get traded or get sent down to the farm, but regardless, the fan sentiment for Spencer Martin was very, very positive. You have yourselves a good goaltending staff working in the AHL, working with guys like Michael DiPietro, Artur Silovs, as well as Spencer Martin, and you of course have that same development staff in Vancouver working with guys like Jacob Markstrom, working with guys like Eddie Lack, working with guys like Thatcher Demko, allowing these guys to take the next step from being a full-time minor player to a big-time number 1 starter in the NHL. Lack, Markstrom, and Demko have all pretty much achieved that status. I guess you could say Lack didn't really deserve it, quote-unquote, but the guy kinda outdid Ryan Miller for some of the starts in the 2015 playoffs, if I remember correctly, before Markstrom came in full-time. But when it comes to the Abbotsford staff, I mean, look, the proof is in the pudding. Thatcher Demko was also developed in the Utica Comet system, and Markstrom was as well, so there was a lot of good goaltending going around in Vancouver's developmental system. Now for Martin, he's coming into this season with a 2-year, one-way contract. The thing was announced earlier today. We had some speculation from McDollywall that it would be a one-way contract, which is a really good thing. We'll explain why. But the 2-year contract was indeed signed. Let's go over what Alvin had to say. We're pleased with the success Spencer has had this season, not only in the AHL, but during his short stint with Vancouver earlier this year. He has been very reliable for Abbotsford, contributing greatly to their Calder Cup playoff berth earlier this month, and has shown an ability to perform in high-pressure situations. Martin, 26, played 3 games with Vancouver, yada yada yada. He made 33 saves in a 4-1 victory on January 27th versus Winnipeg to earn his first career NHL win. Martin has spent most of his season with the Vancouver AHL affiliate team, the Abbotsford Canucks, ranking tied for 9th in the league in wins with a 17-4-2 record so far, in addition to his 2.39 goals against average and a .918 save percentage. His 3 shutouts this season are also tied for 3rd amongst AHL goaltenders. A native of Oakville, Ontario, Martin was selected by Colorado in the 3rd round of the 2013 NHL Entry Draft. Now, going over to the contract specifically, as we said, 2 years, 1 way. This is a really big deal because 1 way means that he's going to get paid the same amount of money whether he's in the NHL or the AHL. The total contract is $1.525 million, meaning that the AAV is $7,625 each. $762,500, that is, if that was kind of confusing the way I said it. But because it's 1 way, he's going to be paid that money either way, whether or not he is in the NHL or in the AHL, which is huge because he's going to be guaranteed that amount of money. The contract he's on right now, which was signed in Tampa Bay, was a 2-way contract. Even though the AAV was $800,000, he wouldn't actually be seeing the full $800,000 if he wasn't in the NHL. He had a minor salary of $105,000, which is just above 6 figures. Yeah, I know, guys making just over 6 figures, boo-hoo. But you could definitely see the pay raise. This guy's going to be guaranteed $750,000 even if he is in the AHL next season, so good for Martin for securing the bag. It took him a long time to get here, but I wanted to expand a little bit more on the plan for Martin as well, because when it comes to the 2-year one-way contract, this is what Jeff Patterson had to say when it comes to Martin and the acquisition. Good for him. A great story of persistence to get a shot at full-time employment at the NHL. Solid move for the Canucks to fill up their backup spot for under $1 million for the next 2 seasons, carving out a little cap space with cost certainty. They will need about 10 wins from Martin next year. We also had Taj, who said this: Martin is going to be the backup next season based off of a couple of good games in the NHL, just in case anyone needed more evidence that management is fine with taking a step back next season. And for the record, this is not a shot at management, it's praising them for having a long-term vision and plan. What does this mean? Well, it means that the Vancouver Canucks are not going to go out there and sign a fairly expensive backup goaltender with experience because they want to go out there and secure those extra few wins. It's been an odd pattern in Vancouver the past few years, but when it comes to that backup, that replacement, that veteran guy to come in here who has had tenured success in the NHL with other teams, Braden Holtby was signed to a pretty big contract. They bought it out because it wasn't worth it, and quite frankly, Holtby was just not that good. And then you have Yaroslav Halak here as well. Now, to be fair, Halak has been better the past few games, but he really did have some terrible performances earlier on in the season. One might think, okay, maybe this is just the product of the Canucks goaltending staff not having an extended amount of time to work with these goaltenders and resolve their kinks. You have yourselves Halak and Holtby, who have been long-time NHL veterans, stepping into Vancouver where all of a sudden they just don't have that same level of success anymore. It worked with Ryan Miller for some reason, but you take a look at all the other guys that have been success stories in this organization. You could say Thatcher Demko, you could say Jacob Markstrom, you could say Eddie Lack, you could say, to an extent, Spencer Martin, because he played pretty well in the few games that he had. All these guys have been developed and honed in the Vancouver system with the Canucks goaltending staff that they have over here. You have Ian Clarke, you have Curtis Sanford helping these goaltenders, they're helping them mold themselves into NHL caliber goaltenders, and it's worked out. So who knows if this is the way, Do you know the way to actually develop? I can't believe I just said that. Who knows if this is actually the proper way the Canucks should go about their development right here? Taking goaltenders in the AHL and making sure that they're actually developing properly. This opens up the door as well for Silovs and DiPietro to make a lasting impact at the American Hockey League level, because Spencer Martin has been sharing a good chunk of the load of Abbotsford Canucks starts this year. Him coming over to Vancouver and being the full-time backup is a lot more financially stable, let's just say, than the Canucks letting Halak go and signing another free agent goaltender to be a backup, because you know how much these veteran goaltenders on the market always get. They always get way too much money. Also, at the same time, this makes the Yaroslav Halak bonus a little bit easier to stomach, because if you take a look at Spencer Martin, he's only going to be making $100,000. If you add on the Yaroslav Halak bonus, it roughly equates to about $2-ish million. So yeah, that's a lot more stomachable to be paying for part of an actual backup goaltender and part of a goaltender that is not there anymore and is only being paid that because of the bonus. If the Canucks went out there and signed, I don't know, let's say X whatever backup goaltender who played in an NHL team last year and who gets $2 million, all of a sudden you're stomaching $3 million and a bit for whatever backup it is that you have, as well as that Yaroslav Halak bonus, and things don't really look all too great. This is what Alvin and Rutherford said. They wanted to build up cap. They wanted to build up cap space. And they wanted to get younger. So Patrick Alvin, big win right here. Spencer Martin, as long as he continues doing what he has been doing and showcases what he showcased at the NHL level earlier this season, next season, then I guess we have ourselves a pretty good showcase for a backup goaltender who has not had too much NHL success in the past before. So talk to me in the comments all your thoughts about Spencer Martin re-signing and how this is honestly sort of a big deal. I apologize for this video coming out late. I did have a few things to work out on when it came to the video uploading, so this is a little bit not ideal, but either way it is coming out, and I hope people are still attentive to this kind of content, even though the signing was technically a few hours ago. So talk to me in the comments all your thoughts about Spencer Martin and the contract. I hope you enjoyed this video, Rosén, and bye.